Hi, I'm Tim Tyler, and this is a video about why people disagree as much as they do. People disagree with each other a good deal, and this has been seen as a puzzle by some. The reason it's seen as a puzzle is to do with Aumann's agreement theorem, so I first of all need to explain what that's all about. Aumann's agreement theorem suggests that two rational truth-seeking agents cannot agree to disagree if they're able to meet and converse with one another. Also, they should usually not have to talk to each other for very long or exchange much information before reaching agreement. Looking at actual cases where people try to reach agreement, one might naively think that an extended process of pooling relevant experience and evidence was typically necessary before mutual agreement could be reached. However, Aumann's agreement theorem suggests that this is not strictly necessary, and that a series of probability estimates can be used as a stand-in for all an agent's relevant knowledge on any given particular topic. Consider, for example, Alice and Bob may disagree on some issue, for example, whether Iraq possesses weapons of mass destruction. If Alice and Bob were rational truth-seeking agents, and they met to discuss their difference of opinion on the topic, Aumann says that the following procedure should usually quickly produce agreement. Alice tells Bob of her probability estimate on the issue, and then Bob updates on this estimate and then tells Alice of his updated estimate. And then Alice updates on that and tells Bob of her updated estimate, and so on back and forth until agreement is reached. After a few rounds of that, the parties should reach agreement. And this is a counterintuitive result. It seems odd, partly because we know that real agents do not behave remotely like that, and often have disagreements over facts that cannot be quickly resolved by an extended discussion, even if a lot of information is exchanged in the process. This raises the issue of which of the premises of Aumann's agreement theorem are faulty, and whether or not anything can be done to make people agree more easily. There are various possibilities. Maybe people do not place much value on the truth, and so are not much like truth-seeking agents in the first place. Maybe people can't be bothered to help others to update their views. Or maybe people do not behave rationally, in which case improving their ability to think rationally might help to avoid disagreements. I think a fairly simple hypothesis explains many disagreements. A model of people as being self-interested agents with differing goals explains why people might disagree about policies. For example, Charles and Diana might disagree about what should be done with a bowl of cherries. Charles might think that the cherry should go into his belly, while Diana thinks that the cherry should go into hers. Different policies can then lead to disagreements about facts. So, for example, someone who wants to win an auction might spread a rumour that the article that they're bidding for is damaged, irrespective of what the truth of the matter is. Similarly, somebody who works for a tobacco company might promote the idea that cigarettes are harmless and safe. And a public sector worker who's paid from the taxes of others might promote the idea that tax cuts are bad for the country overall. Under this kind of view, disagreements are typically about manipulating the views of others, either deliberately or unconsciously. Since people are reasonable lie detectors, to better persuade others of the truth of a particular view, it can often be more effective to first believe that view is correct yourself, in order to make your pitch more persuasive. People unconsciously realise that others are out to manipulate them, and so fail to update on evidence provided by others in arguments, since that evidence is untrustworthy. So, this way people persist in disagreements. The other thing to bear in mind is that nearly every topic is controversial under such a self-interested model. Consider making everybody richer by giving everyone on the planet a gold nugget. That would be great, right? Who could possibly object? Well, the answer is that existing gold owners could be expected to object. Their existing gold would be devalued in the process. They would have an extra gold nugget, but all their existing gold would become devalued. If you think about it, almost everything is controversial in a similar way. Interventions that you might think everybody would agree that are good or bad actually turn out to be controversial. A two-child policy, for example. Some will benefit under such a policy and others would lose out. Free school meals, parents will win, taxpayers lose. Sacrificing the firstborn child, some will lose a little and others will lose a lot, so relatively speaking, those that lose a little will be better off. Infect everybody on the planet with AIDS? That's a pretty horrifying idea, and yet the relative status of those who already have AIDS would shoot upwards if this happened. A related idea is that biological fitness is a relative concept. In biology, where resources are limited, it is not really sufficient to succeed, others must fail. Similarly, circumstances that lead to failure are okay if the majority of others are more likely to fail than you are. I I think this kind of model explains a lot about why disagreements arise so frequently and are so persistent. Different vested interests caused by differing aims is not the only cause of disagreements, but it is surely a big one. And as far as policy goes, it suggests that the way to reduce disagreements is to promote shared goals. So, for example, distributing common shares in a global enterprise to all might help with that. Enjoy.